Thank you for joining me here again on High Ground. It is Corey, and today I'm going to go ahead and show you the equipment that I use. The whole goal that I am trying to do is to start off with your basic stuff. Essentially, I'm shooting on phones that I am either currently leasing or I have bought in the past, and so they're a little bit older phones, and I've maybe about $300 worth of equipment. I'm very big about checking reviews, doing my research on each and every item that I do, and looking for the best price then too, because I could buy, $60,000 RED camera, but don't have that in the budget, nor am I even experienced enough to really truly shoot what I need to with that kind of a camera. Those are kind of the cameras that, some of my favorite people like Corridor Digital use. They're amazing cinematographers, videographers, visual effects artists. That's the goal that I want to become. But until I am at their level, it doesn't make sense to spend $60,000. I just keep doing what I'm doing with these right now, just so that way, I can actually learn and move up my equipment as my skills progress as well. So the first things that I do is I shoot on 3 different phones. The first one is my main phone right there ahead of me. It is 4K at 60 frames a second. It is the iPhone XS Max, also known as the XS Max. XS Max just sounds so much better. I mean, it describes Apple in a nutshell, XS. Currently leasing that phone then, about to buy that one. I love it so far. It shoots 4K at 60 frames a second, 1080p at 240 frames a second. You can actually go ahead and check out my first video, the Lightning. That's all shot in 240 frames a second. So far, I love that phone. My second one is the iPhone 7 Plus, right down here. Hello there. It shoots 4K as well, but only at 30 frames, and I believe it shoots 1080p at 120 frames, so about half the quality, half the frames per second of the actual XS Max. The other one I use is a Samsung S6 Edge. Right now, it is doing my audio for me. So that one, it does do 1080 and I believe 3K, the ultra high, high definition. Still does really good quality. Samsung makes amazing cameras. Their sensors are amazing. So honestly, the time lapses that I'm able to get off of Samsung are just incredible. So I love using that phone to be able to get time lapses. And just so y'all know, if y'all want to, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. And below that in the description, if any of these items are something that pique your interest or you want to check them out, I do provide the Amazon links below. You can get them yourself then. Like I said, most of the items are going to be very budget worthy and ones that I have personally tested out, and I would not endorse a product that I do not like. All right then. So the next ones after that I think are essential to recording good quality good quality video is going to be microphones. Audio quality is huge. Currently, I am using a Corsica shotgun microphone on top of the XS Max. That is the microphone that I use for any of the audio out in the field that, I can't really wire somebody up or I'm moving too much. Doesn't make sense to have all this different equipment. Like I said, very budget worthy, so I don't have wireless microphones, nor, am I using a camera that's gonna be able to take in that input. So the Corsica shotgun microphone comes with the 2 different attachments that allows you to connect it to an actual camera, or the DSLR, and it allows you to connect to the iPhone as well. There is a difference between them because since the iPhone can handle headsets and microphones, it has a little bit different input and outputs that it accepts, whereas a camera, since it's only accepting audio, they accept a little bit different ports. So you gotta make sure the microphone actually does that. Here is an example of a shotgun microphone. This one is for a camera. The way you can easily tell is the cameras, the DSLR ones will have 2 lines here on the jack, as you can see. If it ever decides to get closer, has 2 lines right there. Those are for DSLR. The iPhone ones or the phone ones will have 3 lines. And this shotgun microphone actually has a battery inside of it to help out. But let me go ahead and take off the little screen. And this is what the actual microphone looks like. So as you can see in the very front, it has the actual microphone right there. Get real close. It actually, the lines and everything. And honestly, this one is pretty nice. I use this one for when my friend I'm able to use his DSLR. Otherwise, that Corsica, very similar, a little bit shorter, but both really good quality. I love the Corsica so far. Honestly, half the time, if I'm not careful, if I'm not, a good 4 feet away from the microphone, it will redline out. It'll actually max out the audio then. It picks up audio really, really well. It's not something that I can just push straight in my face or, even this close. It's something that allows you to get sound from one direction. I've seen a lot of videos out there of people using shotgun microphones, and you'll see them go through the whole day outside in a very busy street or something, and you can hear them really well. And then they'll rotate to kind of show you what's behind the microphone that it's not picking up. And there's sometimes a jackhammer, very busy traffic, stuff like that. And it doesn't pick any of that up because it's only looking for that one direction. So it works really well when you're shooting because you're focused one way, your microphone's focused that way as well. Now, if you're doing podcasting, different stuff like that, or in this situation where you're trying to pick up multiple people, a shotgun microphone may not be the best. Sometimes you're gonna go with something that's like the Blue here. This is very good for podcasting, but since it is a USB attachment, it does not work well for phones, and it's not very mobile. Can you imagine trying to do the selfie and everything? It doesn't quite work. Blue is an amazing one, this dynamic condenser mic. It picks up a lot of stuff. So if you're gonna do podcasting or anything of that nature, look for more towards that Blue since you're not gonna be mobile. But for mobile video, and especially if you're using a phone, this Corsica is amazing. The second kind of microphones that I use are the lavalier mics. I believe the ones that I got are a little bit of an off-brand, the Malno lavalier mics. The reason I got them is because it came with 2 microphones and it came with a split cable that allows you to plug in both microphones and it goes to one single input. That way you have one audio channel since that's all the iPhone really handles, and it works really well. They come with really good length. It's one I'm using now. As you can see, I'm mic'd up here. This is it right here. And I love them just because you can go ahead and do an interview. I see some people that just hold these like this while they're talking. That works, but they also come with a little clip that you can go ahead and clip it in and hide the wire if you want to. Works really well if, say, you're going to Comic-Con, different stuff like that, and you want to interview somebody. You can go ahead and real quick mic them up, tell them to put it through their shirt, mic it up to the top. You don't always have to hide it. I mean, it's not really that big of a deal. It's not like you're doing a film to where the actors can't have a microphone showing. So they work really well, and as you can hear me, this is most likely the audio that you're getting is through that microphone. So another cheap pickup that will just make your video sound so much better, and that's one of the biggest things. If you have good video, good audio, you're already 80% of the way there. The next one is going to be tripods and lighting. The 2 tripods that I have, first one is a flexible tripod. The second one is your normal Amazon Basics tripod. Pick it up for I think about 20 bucks. That one is very good for when you don't really need it to move too much. It goes about 5 to 6 feet in the air and it works really well. As you can see right here, that is what I'm using to do the light. I like it. It's very handy. You place it, it does what you need it to do. It's a tripod. Now, say you are definitely moving around a lot more, you never know quite where you're gonna be filming. The flexible tripod is super handy, mainly because you could be on the side of a road, you can be on my patio, you can be pretty much anywhere, and as long as you have a kind of something you can kind of wrap it around, it's gonna stay there. Right now it's wrapped around my chair. Very handy. It has a little back that just has little spokes on it, and the 3 little flexible legs just kind of wrap it however you need to and kind of squeeze it tight. It's not moving. That stuff it works really well. Wind doesn't knock it over. I've bumped into chairs so many times, it doesn't knock the tripod over or anything. If you move the legs just right and kind of lock them there in place, it's stuck there. The one I got is an Ubizi flexible tripod. Once again, all of this stuff is linked down below. The reason I like the Ubizi is it came with a phone mount on there. So the very top part will actually disconnect, which allows you to, if you have any other Ubizi products, you can go ahead and disconnect it, put it on another tripod, something else if you have it, and you don't have to take the microphone off. You don't have to try to undo the phone. You can kind of just keep going straight on there. Save you some time. It's little things like that are gonna take, once you get more practice, it allows you to move faster through your stuff. So instead of spending 5 hours on a project, maybe you only spend 4. That 1 hour there is a huge difference. It lets you start editing faster. You don't have to waste any of your clients' times. It's a huge deal. And so that's one of the reasons why I like it. Plus the phone mount is also extendable, Whereas a lot of mounts here, like on the iPhone 7, as you can see, it has this one here. You can't really do too much with it. It's there. You use a screw to tighten it into place, and it's there. I can't do anything. If I want to get this out, I have to unscrew it, take the phone out, be very careful with it. Whereas with the Ubizi, let me go ahead and readjust that. Gotta put that leg back down. There we go. And you just kind of pull it apart. It's all springs. So then you slide your phone in, let go of it, and it'll clamp shut without putting too much pressure on it. Sometimes when you have cases, especially a waterproof case or anything, if you squeeze too hard, it kind of messes with you touching the screen. So I love it for that fact. Plus it also has a shoehorn mount on the top that allows you to actually connect the different microphones. So a lot of the microphones that you have will have this little plate right here. And essentially it's just all plastic, but it works really well. It's really well designed. You slide it on, tighten the microphone, and it's there. So you don't have to worry about that. That's all of it there. So my son really loves it. You know, he's only 5, and it's not always easy to sit there and try to get him to say, you know, hold this phone. You can do that and walk around while trying to keep yourself in frame. So I use this flexible tripod because I allow him to hold one of the legs, and the other 2 legs I'll wrap around his arm. Not too tight, of course, but he'll hold it. And so as long as he's holding it, it's gonna be where he needs it to be. It works really well. And like I said, with the microphone on top, it's everything. Honestly, that is the vlog setup right there. And you can go anywhere you need to, and you're gonna get a good vlog quality video. The next little thing that I have here after the tripods is going to be this light. Let me go ahead and move some of this stuff off so you can kind of get a good view of it. It is the Viltrox LED panel lighting, as you can see right here. Have it on the Amazon Basics tripod. The reason I love this is because, one, you can go from 20% lighting all the way back up to 100. It's got an LED screen here on the back, so you can read everything really clear. And what's really nice is just with a click of that, you're now switching the temperature. You go from bright white to orange, so that temperature can switch to what you need it to do. Flip it back, and then you got the percentage of lighting there. One reason why I really love this one, and I'm really happy with this LED paneling, is when I bought it, it did come with a battery. Super helpful when you're actually on the go. It's a very lightweight LED panel. With the battery, now it's limitless. You can take light wherever you need to go. One thing I was not expecting, it even came with an AC adapter then. So it came with everything I needed for a very low price. It's one reason why I liked it. Once again, I did more research on it. I did not know it was gonna come with an AC adapter, so I bought an extra one. But now I just have an extra AC adapter. So lighting is very huge. As you can see on this other one, I have a little purple light right here. That is just kind of for some accent lighting then. That one's very cheap. That's not even something I bought off Amazon. I think I've had it in a drawer somewhere. And so lighting is very big. You know, it comes right after video, audio, and then you have lighting. And those 3 things right there is what makes the quality of your video. Without those, you have nothing. Honestly, if it doesn't look good, then I mean, it doesn't matter if you're capturing 4K video, if you're not lit up well, if the stuff just kind of looks right, it may look like you're doing a 1980s movie video camera with no lighting and it looks super dark, or it could be very grainy. There's just so much different stuff. You want to be well lit. I may not be perfectly lit, but I do kind of like the dimension that a light over here gives. The purple light over here kind of adds a little, I don't know how to say, dynamicness to it. And so that's the LED panel that I use. I love it because I can throw it onto any tripod, even my little gimbal mount. I can set it on the ground and it lights up really well. Even in a completely dark room, it's blinding, honestly. It's one thing to have that facing directly at you. The most expensive item that I've had, and probably at least a third, is my Zune Smooth 4. I love this because if you really want to capture cinematic shots with the phone, you see all the time on social media, people doing their phones real quick to capture something, and you're seeing this. You can't help it. No matter what you do, you're going to shake. And it's much more obvious on slow motion. It's just, especially when you try to slow down a video to just kind of get that cinematic look, you know, that zoom in. If you're kind of doing this, you're going to shake. You can't help it. With the Zune 4, it allows you to go ahead and put your phone in there, you calibrate it, Even if you're using a case, microphone, or anything like that, you can go ahead and buy some extra weights, and will keep it nice and smooth. Honestly, it's funny to pull this out and walk around downtown because everybody just thinks that I'm working magic. I sit there and I'm moving this phone around and I'm going through, or I'm on a scooter and I'm trying to hold it, or if you're on a skateboard, it's just perfect to get those shots without having it bumpy. It's gonna go ahead and take that little bumpiness out of anything when you're walking. It doesn't always do up and down, side to side, but as long as it's steady and you kind of keep it there, it's going to be really smooth footage. And so it's really a way to step up your videography game, your cinematography game, all of that, for only about 120 bucks, I think I want to say is what it was at. And it works really well. There's a lot of settings to it. One of the apps that I use for all of my phones is the Filmic Pro app. It's an amazing app that gives you really high quality video. It's got a ton of options. It's honestly probably the best way to get good video on an iPhone, and even on Android. It's gonna be unsurpassed. I cannot find a better app yet that gives me better quality video than Filmic Pro. And the Zune Smooth 4 actually hooks up directly to it. I love it because the Zune 4's app is kind of a little glitchy, especially if you get a text message real quick and you're using your phone, so you kind of reply back to it and you open the Zune 4 app again, you got to go through the whole reconnection process, which when you're filming, you know how vital even 5 seconds can be. But it takes you about 15-20 seconds sometimes for it to connect. Search for it, make sure it's right. Sometimes you got to restart the app. It's not fun. Filmic Pro, on the other hand, once you connect to it, it's going to keep trying to connect to it. There's many times I've locked my phone by accident and been like, oh no, and it already pops up with a notification saying Filmic Pro wants to open this, or sorry, the accessory wants to open this. Unlock the phone and it's already reconnected. All of the buttons on Zune 4 work well with it. I can use the focus wheel directly in Filmic Pro. It seems to be made for each other, and I love it. So be very careful on your gimbals. Do a bunch of research on them because each one has different sets of pros and cons to each one. For what I needed, the Zune 4 is perfect. I know there's the Osmo out there. There's other kinds of gimbals as well. Just research what you really do. Look at a lot of videos, see how people have to shoot with it, because you want to make sure it matches your style. If it's not something you're going to use, it's just a waste of money. If you're using DSLRs, you are going to have to get a different kind of gimbal, just because this has an actual phone little holder on it, whereas with the DSLRs, it's a completely set of different game at that point. You have some that actually have the camera in the center, so you can rotate and it's going to hold that still. There's other ones that are very similar to this that I believe are 4-axis. This one's a 3-axis. And it just depends on exactly what you need. Look for a good price. There's a lot of gimbals out there. Make sure it's a good quality manufacturer. A lot of people try to enter the game and they don't have the experience, whereas there's some companies that have been doing it for decades now at this point. Depending on exactly what you're using, find a gimbal that works with it and your shooting style. Another thing that I like to use is, once again, I'll show you real quick, is the phone holder. For this one is a metal one. This is actually a part of the gimbal's little stand, so that way if you need to set your gimbal down, it uses a little normal connector, so I actually like to use it for either the light. This one here is I believe the Ulanzi metal phone holder. Very basic phone holder, but this thing is, it's metal. And I like it because, as you can see about right here, it's about halfway out and it fits the iPhone 7. Just a little bit more and it's the iPhone XS Max. Just imagine what it is that this thing can actually hold then for you. So I believe any phone out there, unless it's just a tablet at that point, it's going to be able to hold that. And I love this one for when I need to do a time lapse or something where I don't have to move the phone too much, just because once you kind of screw it in there, it's going to stay there. Be very careful not to screw it too tight as always, because you are using a phone. Sometimes it messes with the case, which brings me to the next one. One of the cheapest investments that I've had that really improved what I could shoot is a waterproof case. This one was about $20. I love it. I actually have some footage of me testing it out at the pool with the kiddos and the wife. It worked flawlessly, honestly, and I don't notice any issues with the touch unless you're not careful and you press too hard on this, you squeeze it too hard. The Ubizi doesn't have that problem since it's just springs and it applies a certain amount of pressure before it stops. Whereas this one, you can tighten it and it's going to pop the little plastic away from the screen, which you can kind of hear if you can hear that there. Just make sure not to tighten it too well. Another word of advice that I can give for getting a waterproof case is test it before you throw your phone in there and dunk it in water. I got this one in here. I threw some napkins. I put it down in the little vase of water. Came back about 30 minutes later. Napkins were soaked. I thought I had a defective unit. I was already logging on to Amazon to try to do a replacement. And then I realized the only opening that it can get through is the bottom, and I did not shut it. This works really well because it's got a nice little gasket seal right there. Yeah, I had to retest it, throw some new napkins back in there, let it dry all out, and close it for sure this time, and it worked flawlessly. So I threw my phone in there, risked it, and went to actually go to the pool. Once again, always double check that you have your gaskets closed. Sometimes you'll have stuff right here. This one, it doesn't actually come out. Instead, it's just a little spin wheel that will click the mute on and off for you. But it doesn't actually come out, which I actually enjoy. I've had, I believe, life-proof cases that you have to unscrew, especially for like headphone ports and stuff, which I understand. The headphone port's a little bit different, but when you have something like this, this is genius. But when I jumped in the pool the first time, I did forget to do the gasket yet again. Normally I don't make the same mistake twice, never the third, never do it 3 times in a row. I did do that. I noticed it right away because I was trying to press a button and it kind of wasn't working right. And then I saw a little bit of water and I was like, that's not on the outside. Got out real quick, popped it open, which pretty quick. You can do this side right here. Usually use a quarter, or you can even just use your nail and it pops right off. See if I can go ahead and get it out quickly enough. But luckily the iPhone is water resistant or waterproof. I don't ever trust it, but it worked really well. I was able to get it out, dry all this off with a towel, put the phone back in there, close the gasket. It worked really well. Maybe you'll see some of the footage here in the next video, or maybe I'll roll it right now for you. Transition. Another huge thing that will help if you're not going to be right behind the camera. Right now, as you can see in this little setup, I am speaking to the phone. It's not within arm's reach of me. So if I wanted to just start and stop the camera, I'd have to get up, get from behind the desk, go walk behind there, press the button, do what I got to do, press it again to start it, come back down and sit down. A real quick, easy fix to that is a Bluetooth camera remote. You'll notice there's gonna be 2 buttons on each one, and that's because there's a button for iOS and a button for Android. They do different things there, so they do have to have 2 different buttons. Mainly, it's going to press the button that's usually used for recording. If you're using Filmic Pro like I do, you do have to turn the setting on that says you want to press the volume button to record, because essentially this is just pressing the volume button. It's a Bluetooth remote that will press the volume button for you. I got this in a 2-pack. I believe $10, $15. That way my wife can go ahead and do her social media without actually having to hold the phone. It's pretty nice to be able to sit there and to do it from one little part. Very handy if, say, you don't want to have 6 minutes of footage if you're gonna have to walk 30 seconds away and try to do something and then walk all the way back. It's gonna save you time to be able to start it, do your thing, and then stop it. Or if you're gonna do multiple takes, oh, I messed up. Oh, I messed up. And it kind of helps. Everything you see, I've been using here to be able to create the movies that I'm doing. I do use Adobe Pro, or Premiere Pro, to be able to edit my videos. I know that's out of the price range for a lot of people, but there's a lot of movie editing out there. You don't have to do anything crazy. I'm a very big tech guy. I've always been into photography. I used to do Cinema 4D, Final Cut. So for me, Adobe Premiere was kind of right up my alley, and it's something that I was able to get a license for. So I personally do that. I use my MacBook for most of the editing as well, just because I've been a huge Mac fan recently, and because I'm using an iPhone, it kind of syncs up well. You can also see I have my Windows here. It's got a graphics card. Sometimes, a lot of times, I'll throw everything onto that, and I'll let it render that way, because it is going to go a lot faster than my laptop. I believe that is pretty much all of my basic gear. Yes, I have a little hard drive to throw a lot of the video files on, because you are going to get a ton of videos, and they're going to be pretty large quality. If you have the 4K going, this little video, I think a 23-minute video is about 18, 19 gigabytes. So it's going to take up a lot of space for you. I recommend getting a terabyte portable hard drive. Once again, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and link it down below. All of these items are going to be on the Amazon. If you've seen any of my other videos, they should have a list of theirs, the items that I used to shoot that. They're going to be on there as well. What else is there? Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps out a ton. Any of the stuff that you get on Amazon, I appreciate it. I am an Amazon affiliate, so anything that you do purchase after clicking those links, it does go to help towards the channel. Do have a family, have a day job, and with all of that, all little thing helps. Everything that I get from these videos and through all the little different avenues goes straight back into the channel, and it's something that allows me and my family to kind of do. We get to have fun with. I'll even show you the little clip of my son testing out. He loves it. I was very surprised. He's a natural. I sat there and put it on his arm, and I was like, just talk to the camera. Boom. Forgot I was there, just kind of did his own thing and just started talking as if he was talking to the world. I am so happy for everything that he's gone through. Just for him to pick it up, it's mind-blowing. Oh, and just watch where you walk.
Welcome to my video, and this is the video. Yesterday we talked about dinosaurs and video games. And my family are here. My dad is right there, and my mom are right here. That's my sister. Mom. And at the playground. And there's a little thing better on the sidewalk. And we're home. Home, sweet home. We're home, and there's a thing right here that I want to show you. Right here on the sidewalk.
Mama's child. Or daddy's boy.
Whatever.
And we're at the playground.
Just like you, that's it. That'd be you right
At the
there.
playground. We're going on the stairs.
That was me as a child.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Mama's
So
always said
we're
daddy's.
going up
I
here.
guess that is me as well, but
You'd rather talk to the camera than...
Well, we're up here.
no, I talk to people through the
Well, we're up here. So up here. This is so fun. I'm going down the slide.
You want to slide?
Yeah.
You don't go down the slide while you do it?
I'm going down the slide. Go home. So I went down the slide. That's so fun. And my video's done.
You're done? Awesome. So once again, thank y'all for joining me here on the high ground. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time.